Hi, welcome to What to Cook Next. Are you ready for another delicious recipe? Today we are making flaky biscuits with thousands of layers. I'm going to share with you an easy laminating technique that doesn't require chilling. Let's get started with flaky biscuits. Our filling dough, or the fat dough, uses flour. I'm using spreadable cheese. You can use cream cheese. And also I'm using lard. You can use butter. And as far as other seasonings, you can also add some herbs. You could switch lard or the fat for cracklings or bacon if you wanted to do that. That's a good idea. And this dough is going to be just formed into a disc, and we're going to chill it. You can stick it into the freezer while we are working on the yeast dough. And I'm just thinking what kind of herbs I would put in. I love chives. I've been obsessing over chives for the last year, so I eat them daily. That will be my choice. But you can use other seasonings. Now we're going to prepare a sponge. I always prepare a sponge when making yeast dough, so I'm using warm milk. You should use milk that is about 105 to 115 degrees of Fahrenheit, 40 to 46 degrees of Celsius. A little bit of sugar, dry yeast, and flour to feed that yeast. And we're going to wait for about 5 to 10 minutes until everything is foamy on the top. While that's happening, you can prepare your dry ingredients. So I want you to get ready your flour, also some salt, and the freshly ground black pepper, and then you can pour in the sponge, 1 whole egg at room temperature, and also yogurt. You can use Greek yogurt, plain yogurt, sour cream. I'm going to knead this dough by hand. This dough is quite soft. It's not going to pull away from the sides of the pan, bowl I mean, if you're using a mixer with a hook. And to knead it by hand, it's quite simple. I want you to dust your work surface with a little bit of flour, and we are going to basically push it away from us with the heel of the palm. So I want you to push it away from you with the heel of your palm, and then fold it over itself with your fingers, and then pulling it back. And then you want to rotate it clockwise until you have a somewhat cohesive dough formed. Like I said, this dough, it's not going to be super smooth, and it's not going to pull away from the sides of the bowl. If you're using a stand mixer, it's a bit sticky. Now we're going to roll it out to a large rectangle with the long side facing you. And at this point, you can take out that filling dough that we made with the lard or butter, whatever you're using. And I want you to spread it, push it down a little bit, and you can also use a rolling pin on 1/2 of this yeasted dough. If it's too sticky, you can sprinkle some flour on top of it, but don't overdo it with the flour. And then once it's all nice, we're going to fold shorter edge about 3/4 of the way, and then fold the other edge, short edge, over it, and then rotate that clockwise. And you want to repeat this 6 times. If it's sticking to the cutting board or your work surface, you can use a bench scraper, and it will help to loosen it, and then dust it with a little more flour. So now it's looking really nice, and once you are done with the folding, the very last fold, I want you to turn it over so the seam is on the bottom, and then you can roll it out. If you find at this stage that it's really hard to roll it out, you can let it rest for 5-10 minutes. It will loosen the gluten, and it's going to be easier. Otherwise, roll it out to about 1 inch thick or something like that, and then you can cut it into little cubes. I don't recommend cutting out shapes because you're going to mess up the lamination of this dough. And then you know, it's just so much easier to cut these little cubes. You can use a pizza cutter. And we're going to place these onto a baking sheet, and then we're going to let these rise. So I want you to cover these. You can use a kitchen towel or a damp paper towel. Let them rise in a draft-free spot for 45-50 minutes. And then you can preheat your oven to 350 degrees of Fahrenheit, 180 degrees of Celsius. We're going to also brush the tops with egg wash. And I also like to add salt. So you can use sea salt, pretzel salt. You can also use caraway seeds. Those are popular as well. What's important that you only brush the tops. You don't want the egg wash to be dripping down the sides. Now I've got the sea salt. When you're baking these, keep an eye on them. You don't want to bake them for too long, 10-11 minutes or so, and they are done. If you bake them for too long, they're going to get hard. And you want these to be super soft. These also freeze well. That's what I usually do. I freeze them in bags, and then we can just enjoy them whenever we feel like it. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. You can find a full printable version on my blog. And if you are new to What to Cook Next with Hani, don't forget to subscribe.